In this lecture, I'm going to go through the basic tools that you'll need to teach English online successfully. The great thing is that you might find that you've already got everything you need to get started, and you certainly have the first and most important of those tools, which is you, the teacher. Never forget this. You are the language model for your student. You are the communicative partner for your student. You're the one who gives feedback to your student. You're the one who crafts the lesson so that your student has opportunities to learn new language and to use it. So everything else in this lecture, and in fact all the ideas in this course, are simply there to support you. Secondly, you need a device that lets you communicate with your student. Now, this doesn't just need to be a desktop computer or a laptop. It could be a tablet computer or even a smartphone. In fact, a standard phone or smartphone might be enough. I know English teachers who just use their phone to carry out lessons. For example, a woman in Bangkok I know who phones up her student a couple of times a week while he's travelling home from work on the bus. And if all you plan to do is offer conversational practice with people locally, then a phone is really all you need. And if you want to do the same with anyone in the world, then all you really need is a smartphone with an internet connection. I personally used to use a desktop computer to do all my online teaching, but now I've got a laptop, which means I don't have to do my lessons from home. I can also teach if I'm taking a holiday somewhere, or if I want to teach from a coffee shop, assuming it's got a good internet connection though. More about that later. I can also put all of my materials on my laptop or access them via the internet, so in effect, my laptop is my school. It's my classroom, it's my library of materials, it's my desk, and I can fit it all into a small bag. Whatever device you do choose, it doesn't need to be top of the range, high specification model. It just needs to be something fast enough to run some communication software. So many cheap or second-hand computers are ideal for setting yourself up as an online English teacher. Thirdly, you'll need a good microphone and probably a webcam as well. If you're using a desktop computer, you'll probably need to get an external microphone that you can plug into the computer, or perhaps a webcam fitted with a microphone. Pretty much all notebook computers, tablets and smartphones come with a camera or a webcam and a microphone built in. Sometimes the video and audio quality of these aren't great though, especially on cheaper notebooks, so you might want to consider buying an external microphone and webcam. It's essential your student can hear you clearly. I use an external webcam with my laptop, and the audio quality of the microphone fit to the webcam is very good indeed. One important thing to bear in mind is that microphones built into laptops, tablets, phones and webcams will tend to pick up not only your voice but any other noise coming from the environment around you. Now, this isn't usually a problem if you're teaching from home or a quiet hotel room or another quiet place, but if you're in a noisy coffee shop or next to a busy road, your microphone will pick up that noise as well as your voice, which might cause problems communicating with your student. So bear that in mind as well. Incidentally, using a webcam isn't an absolute must. Many online English teachers don't use webcams at all. They just have audio conversations with their students. And they say that this helps the student concentrate more on listening, because video can sometimes be a distraction, especially if it doesn't work properly. Audio-only conversations have the advantage of taking up a lot less space of your internet bandwidth. Personally, though, I prefer to use video because it makes the communication feel a little bit more personal. And I can also use body language and gestures to communicate with my students, which is especially useful with lower level students. I can also see if they're confused or, perish the thought, bored. Fourthly, a headset. Now, headsets are a really useful addition to your toolkit. You can, of course, just use speakers to listen to your student, but speakers often cause problems such as feedback. If you're listening to your student through speakers, their voice can also be picked up by your microphone, meaning the student gets to hear themselves speaking at the same time as they're trying to speak, which is a recipe for confusion. A headset will often have a microphone attached, but beware of cheap headsets. I know this to my cost. Microphones on cheap headsets are often really poor quality, with wiring that can often snap easily when you move the microphone. So if you're going to get a headset, it's better to invest in one that's a little bit more expensive, good quality. Or you can do what I do. I use the microphone built into my webcam, but I also use those cheap earphones that come with my phone. I just plug those into the computer, so there's no chance of any feedback coming through the microphone as well. Number 5 on my essential list, you need to have a reliable internet connection. Unless you're just making local phone calls, you'll need an internet connection. Both you and your student need to have a reliable internet connection to use communication software effectively. Note, though, that I say reliable. It doesn't necessarily need to be lightning fast internet. If you're just having an audio conversation, Skype only requires a connection speed of 100 kilobits per second and a speed of between 300 and 500 kilobits per second for a video conversation. Now, these speeds are well within the range offered by most internet service provider packages, certainly those in developed countries. Bear in mind, though, that these figures refer to both download and upload speeds. The live video and audio of you is being uploaded to your student, while at the same time you are downloading your student's live video and audio. So this means your upload speeds need to be fast enough to cope. And upload speeds are often much slower than download speeds, often 10 times slower than download speeds. So for example, if your internet service provider says you're getting a connection speed of 3 megabits per second, this is likely to be the download speed only. Your upload speed might only be 300 kilobits per second, 1/10 of your download speed, which is round about the minimum speed for a video conversation using a standard webcam. However, if you're going to use an HD webcam, while it might look good, you're going to need a much faster, much bigger bandwidth. Skype recommends a connection speed of 1.5 megabits per second for an HD webcam. Remember that this means your upload speeds need to be 1.5 megabits per second, meaning your download speed might have to be as high as 15 megabits per second, depending, of course, on your package with your ISP. Now, while HD webcams produce beautiful video, this is only the case if your internet connection and that of your student is fast enough to cope with the extra data sent by an HD webcam. So remember that not only you have to have 15 megabits per second on your upload side, but your student is going to need a download speed of 15 megabits per second if you're using an HD webcam. I know this to my own cost. I used to have problems when using an HD webcam when I was staying in hotel rooms around Thailand when I first came to Thailand. And hotels can be notorious for having slow internet speeds. But the solution was simple. I just unplugged the HD webcam from my laptop and I used the laptop's cheap inbuilt webcam instead. Now, while the video quality wasn't as good, the internet connection could now cope with the data being sent by the webcam. So you need to be aware of your upload and download speeds. Incidentally, the connection speed your ISP claims to have given you is often not the speed you'll really be getting. If you're using Wi-Fi, it can often be much slower. And if you're using Wi-Fi in a public place like a hotel or a cafe, It can be really slow depending on how many other people are using the Wi-Fi and what they're doing with it. In any case, the speeds can vary, so it's best to check your internet connection speed yourself. There's one very good website, speedtest.net, that you can use to check your internet speed. It might be possible also to use your mobile network, 3G, and in an increasing number of places, 4G cellular networks might be possible, might be useful for doing online lessons. 3G mobile networks are supposed to mean you can get a minimum of 2 megabits per second when you're not moving, which should be enough for an even HD webcam, but again remember that the speed of a mobile network depends, as with public Wi-Fi hotspots, on how many people around you are using it. If you live in a city with 4G networks, you can expect much faster speeds, in theory up to 1 gigabit per second, but I never get that with my 4G connection in Bangkok. I tend to get speeds of around 30 megabits per second download and about 18 megabits per second upload with my 4G connection. I've actually used 3G connections to do online lessons, but it can be hit and miss.
So there you have it, the essential 5. A communication device, a microphone and a webcam, a headset, reliable internet, but most of all, you.